Hello everyone to this week's Minecraft video. I want to go over a few of the things talking about our towns. I'm going to show you guys how to use the cosmetics mod so you can unlock some really cool stuff. And I'll be talking a little bit about the plot settings for your towns and some of the issues with the fact that you guys built your towns right next to each other. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is let's talk about these towns being really close to each other. So if we look on the map, we have pretty much all three towns very close together. I actually had to go in and change the configuration just so that you guys could expand a little bit closer. But right now, I would almost suggest that we try and move Kitty Town a little bit further away, just to give more room to grow. Because right now, this little town right here I'm standing above is going to get kind of squished in between my town and the other town that's been kind of growing a bit. So we can kind of either figure out if we want to move you guys or just make a new town somewhere and build up a new little house real quick. We can figure out what we want to do, but right now these two being so close together is going to cause a lot of trouble later on when you try to expand and grow your town, especially because this one's also right next to the border of my town. So that's our first issue. The second issue is that we have a few towns that have been getting going. They've started building. They've got some of their houses going. And that's great. This week we're going to be really focusing on making sure everybody in the town has a plot to themselves to build their house on so that their stuff is protected and safe from everybody else. We're going to go over and build how to build an inn so that you can go and visit anybody else's town and sleep at the inn, and that will save your spawn point to that inn, so that if you want to work with somebody further away, you can do that. Now, obviously, you guys are all so close; it's not that useful to you, but it can be very useful later on when you start expanding and moving out a little bit more further away from your towns. And then there's also some other plots we'll talk about in future weeks, like the farm plots, and the jails and the embassies. So that is the first order of business right here. The second thing to talk about is the cosmetic mod. And so you guys might have noticed that you all had this ender chest that's in your inventory, and it's always going to spawn in the fourth row. And you can move this out of the fourth row by going into your inventory and using the number system to move items in and out very quickly. But if you move this out of this location into your inventory, you're going to have to die again before you'll ever be able to use it, because you can't move it back in, what we found from some testing. So it's easier just to leave it right how it is and just move around it and not worry too much about it. So the cosmetics mod is really cool, and it's going to give you guys a lot of very unique and interesting ways to make your character seem much different from everybody else's, regardless of just a different skin. So let's take a look and see how we use it. So you're going to open it up, and you can start with 0 keys, and you can't open a chest unless you have a key. And treasure chest keys cost, I believe, about 100 or 200. So they cost 200. They're expensive. I don't want these to be too easy to get. So I'm going to purchase one. And now I can say it says click to open a chest. Now if I click to open a chest, it builds out around me. So you see it built out around me. It will drop down 4 chests. And you'll notice I can't leave this position. Until I open all 4 chests, I cannot leave. So now when I open a chest, it's not going to give me anything special because I have everything locked on this account. It gives me money. So it's not super impressive, but the idea is that it will give you 4 chances to get something that is either money or one of these 7 things. So there's pets, there's gadgets, there's particle effects, there's emotes, there's suits, there's hats, and there's mounts. The mounts are one of the better things if you can get them. They're pretty rare for the most part, but they go really fast. They look really cool, and some of them can even fly, like the dragon can fly, and the spider can also climb up walls. So there's just a lot of really cool stuff here. And so when you have one being unlocked, you'll see that it'll say permissions yes, Whereas most right now, everything you guys have should be permissions no. And so you just go in there, you activate it. So I'm flying around my dragon. It can be a little bit tricky to get off things like the dragon because you can see it's stuck in the ground. And so I have to kind of just hit shift to get off the dragon and fall a little bit. So the horses are the same thing. You just hit shift to dismount like you normally would off of any horse, but it's a little bit easier to get off of them because you can just stop moving. Alright, so that's the cosmetics. There's a few other things to look at in there, but for the most part you guys will find out what they do when you try them out. They're pretty fun. They're pretty cool. The next part is, I think many of you went and got a job, and that's great, but you have to remember you can get more than one job. So I encourage you to have at least all 5 jobs, and then you can make lots of money by doing the jobs, and that will help you out a lot. Because I think a few of you just picked one job and then left, and you didn't really make a lot of money that first week if you were able to play very much. So that is going to be one thing you'll probably want to come back to the main town to make sure you've got all the jobs you need, and then also check out the different stores once you have some money. Again, I made the railroads really cheap. I'm hoping not this week, but probably in another week or two, that you guys will start working on a railroad system to get back and forth from the main town, and maybe even to connect you to the other villages, and also for whichever mine you guys start actually digging down deep with, is to use the rail systems. It will save you a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time during the week, so getting a rail system set up will save you tons and tons of times when you want to go adventuring and start working towards getting another portal up and eventually getting an end portal created. So, and don't forget, you've got that part of the map that you're all set up in, but there's huge amounts of this map. You know, you guys are really all condensed into one small area, but you know, there's a ton of areas around this map once you get outside of the main town, especially to the north. If you want to explore a tundra, we have a very large icy tundra landscape just to the north here once you get across this river. And there's stuff in there, and remember, this is also the 1.10.2, so we have polar bears, so be careful, there are bears. Alright, and the last thing I want to talk about, because I know one person over the weekend, or actually one before the last thing I want to talk about, before the weekend, or during the weekend, one person did actually buy the very first embassy. That's what it was over here. So we have the very first embassy. He's got a shop, but what we're going to learn how to make is a really useful, get a sign, normal shop, just like my shop. So everybody can have one shop that is like my shops in here, where I can put in items to either sell or buy, and I can control quite a bit about the price and the amount I'm selling and buying, and it's automated and stuff. So when you buy an embassy, you'll probably want to build a shop, and you can start playing around with this. Just right click a chest onto it, hold down shift so you're crouching, look at the chest, and then right click with a sign, and then put in the square bracket. It's over next to the enter key, and then lowercase shop, and then the other square bracket. So you see that the square brackets have shop in between them, and that's all you do. You hit done, and then it will ask you to type in a name or amount. What we're doing right now is we're naming the shop, so this doesn't affect anything, but you can just type in whatever you want. So let's just call this test shop, and then click on this little piece of paper right here to confirm. Alright, so you see I've got my shop and it's closed. So all shops start out closed so that you can work on them and mess around with things. If you're going to make changes, if you're going to change prices or change the amounts you're selling, it's pretty easy. You just left click right here in the middle to close and open your shop. So you always want to close it before you start doing any work, and then open it up once you're happy with how everything is set up. And so to put items into the shop, you just find your items that are in your inventory, and you click on it, and you'll see it moved it from my inventory into this shop, because the shops rely on you to fill them up with stuff. And so I have one shield, it took my one shield and put it in the shop. And then now I want to control this, so I want to see, how many am I selling, how much does it cost, and do I need to add some stock to it? So let's change the price first. So I click on change price, and it's going to say type a name or amount in chat. And so you can hit T just to get a blank line. I'm used to doing command, so I always hit the thing and then I just delete it. But it's just waiting for the next thing you type to be a number, and then it will change it to that number. So let's say 25. And we'll say changed price, so you know that it worked. And if we go back, the price is now 25. And you can do the same amount with the amount sold. So if you want to sell 8 shields for 25, then that's where you would change this. Say how much do you want to sell. So if you're selling a bunch of dirt, set the 64, how much do you want to sell a full stack of dirt for? And then because I only have one to sell, if somebody tried to buy 2, it would tell them there's not enough of it, and I need to put stock into my shop. And so you can do that by clicking on these green buttons right here, and you just click and you say how much again that you want to add. So you see I don't have any, so if I start to say 1, it's going to say not enough items because I don't have any other shields in my inventory. But if you do, it will take them out of your inventory and put them into the shop. The shop can hold quite a bit, I think like 999 of any item. Alright, and you can also, if say you need to get some stuff out, say you're selling iron, but now you need 9 iron, your shop has 50 of it, you can come over as the owner and not have to pay any money. You just go and remove stock, and so you say, hey, I want my one back. Alright, so I took my shield out. The icon's still here, but my stock is 0. Nobody can buy it. It's out of stock. So the icon will stay, your settings will stay, but they will not be able to buy anything from you. Alright. And then, let's see, selling. Yeah. So that is how it starts out. Now you need to switch between buying and selling. So right now I'm actually setting it up to what they're going to buy from me. So it's a little bit confusing. Buying means they are buying from you. Selling means they are selling something to me. So again, I can put my shield in, and I would say I'm trying to buy stuff. I want more shields. So I can say, how much will I pay for a shield? I'll pay 15. And how much will I ask for it? I'll ask 25 per shield. So what this means is that it costs 20. Yeah, I'll buy a shield. I'll buy 25 shields for 15 money. So be very careful. This 25 does not mean how much I'm paying. It's how much I'm going to take from your inventory. So right now I'm charging you. I would be buying your shields for very, very cheap, and then I'd be trying to resell them to you at a very high price. So be careful when you're buying and selling stuff to people's shops that you're paying attention to not just the price, but the amount, because that means it's 25 divided by 15, and that's how much each shield is going to sell to me for. The other nice option is that if you have the item in both the buying and selling section, you can actually tell it to just collect stock, so that if they sell you shields, they'll go immediately over into the buying area and fill up the stock there. So if you're buying and selling the same item, that's the best way to do it. So people can sell you iron, maybe at half the price that you're selling it for, and so they sell it to you for 5, and you're selling it back to people for 10. So they can get some money for selling you some iron they don't need, and you can sell it back to people that need it for a little bit more and make a profit. And I don't think there's much else. Oh, it's there. That's not useful to you. And the shop icon. That's not needed either. Okay. So that's the basics of the shop. And there are a few other things. If you read the description here on what else you can do, like left click to open and close, left click on an item to manage it, and left click on an inventory item down here to add it into the store. Right clicking opens up the shop settings. I have a lot more shop settings because I'm the administrator, but the main ones you can do is you can change the color of the glass panes it uses for the GUI, and you can also turn on and off notifications. So if you want to know when somebody buys or sells something to you, you can turn this on. If you get a really popular shop, it's really annoying, so I usually leave it off, so I don't see tons and tons of messages all the time. And if you want to work with others, you can add people to be shop managers, and this means that they can come in and make changes. I would not suggest this, and I don't think you might not even have the permissions to do it, but yeah, I think I turned that off because it's just too dangerous with people taking stuff away from you. So everybody's shop is separate. Everything's basically just, set it up and try and sell things. And don't forget to tell people if you have stuff for sale, let them know, hey, my shop is at my house. The main part is that you'll probably all want to kind of get your embassy squares as soon as you can. So obviously they're expensive, they cost a lot of money. But one person has already managed to do it. Let's see here, let me fix this sandstone. There we go. And it'll really help you just make some money, start playing with the economy, and let people know what you have for sale. And so remember these plots, if your team is well organized, one person can buy the plot, and then they can make the other people friends for this plot so that they can also use it to put up their shops. We'll be going over that later when we get to some more permission stuff for Townie. But that is one thing you can do, is that you can plan to just buy one embassy spot for your whole town and use it together. So, all right, I'll break my shop. If you break a shop and there are items in the inventory, they'll all spew out onto the ground. That's a big danger if you have a bunch of stacks. If you have like 999 of something, you might not be able to pick all of it up at once. So be careful about destroying a shop. If you make one and you have tons and tons of items in there, it can be a big mess, and you might lose something in that case. All right, so this week I'm looking forward to it because we have all new computers. They are much faster than our last year's computers, and so they all can run Minecraft. We have 27 of them. And I also tested out the login, logout issues. Because we don't have to share computers anymore, everything should work really well. I could not recreate the logout, login problem at all with these computers, and so I'm really looking forward to this whole week, everybody getting to play and everybody getting started and building in the towns and everything. So I am really happy that Wednesday is going to be awesome. So I will see you guys then, and ask me any questions if you have any. All right.